Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk about the circle disc cutter right now. Perfect choice if you've got a perfect circle that you need to cut inside your piece, or if it is just an outside shape that you're using and doing something else inside. You can roll mill texture the piece before you start. And there's going to be some distortion when you texture, so if you choose to have a texture on that, it's probably better to do that before you cut this out of the circle disc cutter. If you want some distortion with an oval, then you would want to do that after you cut out your circle, because you can distort it to an oval through the roll mill. We also have a square disc cutter that operates in the same way, but I'm just going to demonstrate with the circle disc cutter. So you're going to take your material, we're going to cut out just a circle from here, and I don't need to mark that. What I'm going to do is choose the size that I'm going to use. These are the sizes that we have available. This one is broken, so the small one's off the table for using. We're going to go ahead and choose that size, and this will slide in here. So once you choose that, you're going to slide your material in, turn this middle dial, and that will clamp the bottom and the top plate together to securely hold this metal in so it doesn't slip when you cut this out. This has got, it's not sharp, but it's kind of at a 90-degree edge right here, so when you place this down against your metal and you hammer down on here, that's going to cut that out. Make sure you're not putting it in upside down, because that's not going to go so well for you. I'm going to take a regular garden variety hammer. I'm going to work on this one right-handed. So I've got my hammer that I'm holding kind of towards the end. You don't want to choke up right here, and you don't want to be all the way at the end right here. I'm going to take my left hand, so I'm going to turn this. I'm going to take my left hand and brace it on the left side of this middle. And then I'm going to line up nice solid hammer strikes. It is going to get pretty loud. Keep in mind, the smaller the circle that you're cutting out, the easier and the less hammer strikes it takes. The bigger the circle, the more hammer strikes it takes for that to cut out. Similarly, if you have a thinner gauge metal, that's going to go a lot faster than a thicker gauge metal. So I'm going to hold it in place. And it popped through. Once I've done that, sometimes it just goes through, and that's the piece that exists. Now, I did one earlier, as you can see over here, where I didn't quite line it up, so I have an edge on that. And you can intentionally use that in your design, or if that's not what you want, you'd have to reline up and try that again. One thing to keep in mind is if you are just doing circles, if you're looking at originality and design, and all you're doing is keeping these circles together and you don't manipulate them in any way, would encourage you to think about how you can form, fold, cut to come up with some different stuff out of this circle cutter that would look different than anybody else chooses to use on that. Sometimes you're going to want to use the circle disc cutter to cut an internal circle that's very much proportional to a design you've already created. So I'm going to use this one. There's already one cut out of here. I have a very symmetric design, but I chose to use a smaller piece in here to give it a little bit of asymmetry, a little bit of variety there. I chose a circle that I have a disc cutter for, so I chose one that, this guy right here. I chose one right there. If you need to cut out a circle bigger than this or smaller than this, you would have to use the saw frame to do that. I used the circle template to trace that on there, so I didn't have to line it up just purely by my eye. So I'm going to go ahead and look straight down, line up my markings, tighten that. If I'm a lefty, I'm going to turn it this way, hold it in place, grab my hammer here, and hammer strikes down. Since I'm not a lefty, I'm going back to right-handed. Control is key. That one took less because it was smaller. Sometimes they get stuck, but most times they'll just fall right through. Loosen that up. And then I have those two pieces, and then I can continue to finish sawing. I did lose some of the tracing paper right there that I might have to deal with later. But other than that, I'm good to go with the circle disc cutter. So until next time, bye-bye.